You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 7. So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us. It's great to be back with you this week. I mentioned in last week's podcast that I recently graduated from the Life Coach School with my coaching certification, and I'm so excited to celebrate with all of you that have been cheering me on. It was certainly a huge time commitment to go through my certification, a huge step for me to take, and a really huge investment that I took in myself. And since enrolling in the life coach school, I've had so many people ask me, what is a life coach? To be quite honest with you, up until I started working with one for myself, I really didn't have a clear understanding either. And on today's podcast, I'm going to give you an insight into what I believe life coaching is. And depending on who you talk to or who your coach is, where they've gotten their certification, or if they've even gotten certified, they may have a different opinion of it than I do. Additionally, this is what I interpret as life coaching, and I'm sharing it with you because learning to manage my mind through the skills that were taught to me through life coaching have sincerely changed my life. There's many people who hear the words life coach and maybe don't have an awareness of what they can gain from working with a life coach. And previous to working with a life coach, I thought it meant hiring someone to tell me what to do. That if you had a major goal in your life or you're looking to achieve some sort of career milestone to work towards, you'd hire this person who'd spell it out and exactly tell you what steps to take, how to achieve it, and help you reach your goals. And I can tell you that that is not what a life coach is, or at least the type of life coach that I am, or the foundation for the certification that I received. So, as I begin, if I were to explain life coaching in terms of sports, think of it as in this way: there's a team doctor that will lead with a diagnosis and treat an athlete if they were to break their leg in a game. And then there's the coach on the sidelines that gives tactical strategies to win the game. And let me be clear that as we begin, that by no means is a life coach a replacement for a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist. There is 100% a line that must be understood, that it is not the job of a life coach to diagnose or lead clients that are better suited for a professional who's degreed. And we're trained at the life coach school to never overstep those boundaries. So just wanted to be clear on that before I really launch into what a life coach offers. So to start, a life coach offers their client a mirror into their thoughts. They offer clients an opportunity to question their thoughts and feelings and see results that they're creating. And the type of training that I am doing is called causal coaching. So, simply said, we help our clients understand and identify the cause and effect of our thinking and what it creates in your life, and offer an outside perspective to patterns in one's life. So if a client were to come to me and say, I'm continuously feeling disappointed in this setting, or I want to go after a job and I notice that I just never pull the trigger and do it, or I tell myself I'm not qualified, or say they come and they want to explore a new career and there's something in them that just doesn't have the confidence, or a strength in a relationship that they have with someone but just don't know what's holding them back from doing so. So, those are just an example of some things that a client could come to a coach wanting to work on. And the life coach can help you understand yourself and ask you questions to offer tools to carve a path to the results that you're wanting to create in your life. What I want for my clients should never be relevant. And that's one of the biggest trainings early on that we got, is never believing that my client should do something that I would want for myself. I don't believe in judging my clients or swaying them to do something I would do in my life, because it's not my life, it's theirs. They know what results they want and what's important to them, and I would never want to sway them from being authentic to who they are and what they want to accomplish in their lives. The type of coach that I strive to be teaches clients that your past no longer exists anywhere but in your mind. You don't need to have your past dictate your future. You failing fertility treatments, which, by the way, I dislike the word failing because having it used to describe a cycle year after year and month after month of treatment is just something that I don't think is helpful, but that's for another episode. But you failing a cycle doesn't define who you are as a person. If your body isn't able to reproduce, that doesn't mean you're a broken individual. It just means you didn't respond to fertility treatments in a way that resulted in having a child. What you make that mean about you now is up to you. And it's never too late to choose a new thought about yourself. There's not a day that goes by that I'm glad I couldn't have a child or that IVF didn't work for me. We'll always wonder what kind of parents we would be and what amazingness a human we created would accomplish. But as unfair as that may seem, it just wasn't intended for us. So when I do my own work with my coach, I practice the thoughts that I do want to have about myself as a woman without children. A life coach can help us understand and make sense of what we're creating in our lives and help build some awareness about it. And they could help us create the lives that we want to create, but maybe we just really don't stop and ask ourselves questions that'll allow us to understand what's really going on in our mind. Because I believe that a life coach helps you look at your mind and helps explore options and look at patterns that we have and teach us to maintain a sense of empowerment and meaning in our lives. Oftentimes we go through our lives reacting to what happens. I mean, who can relate to me at that? We tell ourselves that as much as we want something to be different, it just won't be, because that's just not how life is. Life has it out for me. I'm cursed. I have bad luck. Nobody understands me. I was right there with you before I learned to manage my mind. I told myself that I wasn't going to be a mom. I tried fertility treatments. I followed the protocols and time schedules, and I did exactly what my doctors told me to do, but it didn't work for me. And because of that, I was just going to be like some ho-hum, Lord knows what, just going through life and just taking it all at the chin and not being the trailblazer I yearned to be and not discovering the meaningful life that I wanted to live. I want to serve my clients and serve my students and allow them to learn how to be independent. I don't want to be the type of coach that someone has to be reliant on me as their coach to get through the rest of their lives. What I want to do is teach them the skills so that they can continue to apply those skills into different parts of their life and to create big action for themselves. They'll know how to manage their mind, and they'll know how to understand that their thoughts create their feelings, and their feelings then fuel their actions and give them the results that they want to have in their lives. If you remember back to episode 2, where we spoke of building awareness, when we notice our thoughts and our beliefs, we're able to see how they create our feelings. And when you become aware of your thinking, it becomes easier to see that the way you feel is directly related to the thoughts or the beliefs that you possess. When you decide that you're going to look inside your brain and decide that you're going to thought lead or create thoughts, your life becomes better because you're doing just that. You're leading it and choosing your thoughts Remember, it's also your version of better, not someone else's. Me not being able to have a child means nothing until I have a thought about it. I could either think my life is never going to be abundant and never be meaningful, or I can think this is my opportunity to find my meaning in my life, to decide that if I'm not going to be a mom, what is it that I want to be? What mark do I want to leave behind? You're the creator of your life, and you don't have to ask anyone for permission to create it. When you go all in and do the work with a life coach, you'll be amazed at how you're able to get unstuck and start changing your life in ways that will blow your mind. And I only tell you this because I'm able to do it and I'm no anomaly. What I share with you every week is solely my story and my opinion based on what I've done and what I've experienced through coaching and through mind management. I was able to start to understand my brain and understand why I was doing what I was doing without beating myself up in order to motivate myself to make any kind of change, starting with becoming aware of things and not having judgment for myself when I became aware of them. I discovered my true potential and I began to notice amazing results in my life. And I know that that's available to you too. When you work with a life coach, you'll be amazed at the clarity, the insight, and the help that you can get from working through your problems on a coaching call. And whether you're being coached directly on a one-on-one session or possibly listening to others being coached if you're on a group call, it'll help you experience life-changing breakthroughs. There's not one specific definition of a life coach, but I'm just telling you my definition of the type of coach that I'm expecting myself to be. And I'm extremely proud to be a graduate of the Life Coach School. Brooke Castillo and the master instructor that led me through my certification are absolutely magnificent. The training was rigorous with a high level of expectation of me as a student. The understanding and skill I had to demonstrate to meet specific standards was no easy task. There were tests I had to pass and hours of coaching I had to submit to become evaluated in order to achieve my certification as a life coach. But most importantly, I'm a believer in the training I got because I see how it changed who I am. I was the greatest recipient of my coach training, and I have the skill to realize that there's nothing that'll stop me from achieving a meaningful life but my thoughts. Not having a child is solely a circumstance in your life until you attach a thought to it. And of all the thoughts available to you, what thought do you want to have about it? It's yours to choose. I hope this offered you some insight and understanding that if you're interested in working with a life coach, roll up your sleeves and be ready to do the work. Don't expect anyone to tell you what to do, but you'll see results if you open your mind to really digging in and understanding where your thinking is coming from. They'll be your mirror and offer you an opportunity to look at your own thinking and look at the results you want to create in your life and help you achieve them. And speaking of working with a life coach, I'm going to be working on a topic with my clients around handling the holidays. I know for me, historically, the holidays were always a very rough time because I didn't have children. And next month with my private clients, we're starting a 4-week program addressing the holidays. We'll be working on creating meaningful holidays and learning how to enjoy the season and celebrations even if we don't have children. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, I'd love to hear any feedback you have. Please check me out on Instagram at Stitch Coaching, STITCH Coaching. And remember, never stop believing you have the ability to discover your meaning. See you next week.